What's going on, guys? Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. And sorry I sound sick. I haven't been posting. It's because I am sick. I've got a pretty nasty flu. After I just finished getting out of the hospital, figuring out that I had a hernia, now I get hit with the flu. Oh my god, I can't escape being sick, going to the doctor, hospital, whatever. But I'm here. I'm going to be making videos. I'm trying my best. Yesterday I couldn't even get out of bed. Today I'm feeling a little bit better, so I thought I would talk about maybe a little bit of controversy. Now, a lot of people watch Tim and Sid here in Canada. I would probably think they have quite the big viewership, and I am one of their diehard fans. I've been watching and listening to Tim and Sid for years. I think they're two of the best out there when it comes to sports, and they're entertaining. They're a lot of fun, and there's a little bit of controversy going around right now that Sid was basically ripping on the Toronto Maple Leafs and their fans. But let me first come to the defense of the Tim and Sid show, and Sid, of course. But let me just quickly show you guys something that means a lot to me. So my buddy Audie, you guys obviously know him, sent into Tim and Sid that I was a huge fan and that we were making a podcast together. And they ended up sending us back a photo signed and said some nice words to us on here. This was just another reason why I'm a huge fan of them, and they were very appreciative, or I'm very appreciative of them taking the time out to sign this for me. And this is not going to be a roast on them. This is more going to be like a kind of a response in just a normal sports fan type of response. No craziness. I just want to have a conversation with Leaf fans and Tim and Sid if they happen to watch this. I doubt it, but maybe just some people that are hating on them. So Sid was talking about the fact that the Toronto Maple Leaf fans are like overhyping this upcoming season, and you know, a lot of people were getting on him on Twitter. There's some people that were probably watching that were saying, hey, on YouTube that were commenting saying, oh, he's gonna regret this, whatever. You guys got to know that they've had some hot takes before, and they're entertaining, and they have a lot of fun. This is nothing new. They like to throw some crazy hot takes out there, and you know, some of the time they're right. And there is a lot of things that he was saying that are correct, but there are also some that I would like to argue against. But please stop going after them and saying, oh, I'll never watch this show again. Have you ever seen The Ice Dancing is Corrupt? These guys are funny. They know what they're doing. They're talking. And you know what? A lot of the time they're right. They had a Dion Phaneuf clip from years ago that was hilarious as well. They know what they're doing, okay? So get off their back. They're just having fun with it. And there are some things that he said that were right. And maybe he's just a little mad because he wants them to do well. I don't know. But this is just my opinion on the whole matter. So He said some things like, you know, Leaf fans are overhyping the fact that, you know, they could win the Stanley Cup, and they got John Tavares, and, you know, they haven't, you know, really done anything with their blue line. So let's just break down some of the points. So the first thing he said was that this team has not won a cup since 1967, and they haven't really been relevant since. Now, and again, I'm sort of paraphrasing a couple things because I watched the video twice, so I wasn't just saying, you know, random stuff about him that were wrong. You'll have to watch the clip again. You guys can find it anywhere on the Tim and Sid YouTube channel as well on Sportsnet. The Sportsnet channel. But he was basically just saying that the Leafs haven't really done anything since 1967. You know, the last time they won a playoff series was 2004. Pat Quinn, rest in peace, you know, my favorite coach of all time. He was basically the last coach to really do anything with them. And Mike Babcock now hasn't won a playoff series with the Leafs, but that'll probably come. But he was saying, this team, you guys can't, like, Leaf fans can't, you know, talk about the team as if they're going to win the Stanley Cup because they haven't done anything. And he also brought up the point that this team hasn't proven anything because their defense sucks, and they're not going to do well in the playoffs because their defense sucks. And if Jake Gardner's on the ice, and I love Jake Gardner, so that one stung a little bit, but he said if Jake Gardner's on the ice, that the Toronto Maple Leafs won't win a playoff series. Well, I think that they are going to win a playoff series this year. I'm not one of those fans that's like guaranteeing a cup. I'm more of a realistic type of fan. So let me just give both sides here. So the diehard fan of the Leafs inside of me says, yes, you know what? Forget the past. We're going to win this year, whatever, because I'm a diehard fan. But as a fan and being realistic, I also notice in reality that the Leafs haven't won a playoff series since 2004. They haven't been a very good team, a cup contender in a while. But now I truly believe that they are at least at the next level to being a Stanley Cup contender. I feel like it's fair to say that this team can really battle in the playoffs and surprise a lot of people when it comes to their defensive side of the game. I would argue that they added more of a defensive style of play by removing some bad defensive type of players. Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk on that line with Connor Brown. It wasn't even fair to Connor Brown. They were not good defensive players. They never will be. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Leaf fans, if you love those two, I love them as well. But they're gone now, and it's better for our defensive side of the game. Then you add in guys like Johansson and Kapanen, who are faster and probably will get back to those pucks a lot better. Connor Brown has better line mates now when it comes to the defensive side of the game as well. Per Lindholm, we haven't seen how good of a defensive game he brings, but I'm sure he's a little bit quicker than Van Riemsdyk and Bozak. You also add John Tavares. Now, we all know his scoring and the way that he can, put up points, and he will with Mitch Marner. But you also have to look at his defensive side of the game as well, and he can track down pucks really well. He's done it already in the preseason. Mind you, that doesn't really matter, and I'll get to that very soon. But we've seen glimpses of it in the preseason, but we've seen a ton of it when he was with the New York Islanders. The forwards are really playing a very good defensive style of game now with this group, in my opinion. I think there's a lot more guys that can track down pucks this upcoming season. He also brought up the fact that they only added Igor Ozhiganov. I hope that I'm saying his name right. I hope that I got his first name right. I haven't really done my complete homework on the guy, and I feel bad. I've just been sick. I haven't really been paying attention to a whole lot since I left Maple Leafs training camp. But from what I've seen of him, I was impressed a little bit. But I feel like they're not saying, okay, that's the guy, that's it. This Leafs team could very well go after a defensive style blue liner at the trade deadline, and that's where I think they will. A team like the Canucks, who will probably be out of it by that point, in my opinion, although I do think that they could surprise some people this year, could trade a guy like Tanev, and that's where maybe the Leafs grab their defensive-style defenseman, because you have to keep a guy like Jake Gardiner on your team. Why? Because he puts up a ton of points. If he walks, that sucks. You're not recovering any assets for Jake Gardiner. If there was going to be a Gardiner trade, it probably would have happened already. The Leafs don't want to end up getting rid of a guy like that mid-season, because it could mess up chemistry, but you're also showing your team that you're selling off a 50-point defenseman in the middle of the season. That probably doesn't work unless you're bringing back something substantial. I think it would have already happened. The Leafs may still negotiate a contract with him depending on how the contracts go, but I think that you have to keep a guy like Jake Gardiner on your squad, and team defense will be better represented this season. That's just my opinion. The next thing that he brought up was the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs and a.k.a. Kyle Dubas have not signed William Nylander yet, and, Sid was basically saying, you said that you'll get these guys done, but you haven't done any of them yet. The Matthews and Marner situation, they were talking already apparently with both of them, more with Matthews apparently. I'm not sure. I don't have these inside sources. I just read from guys like Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston as well. I might add, he was a very nice guy. I met him as well. But they were basically saying that there was conversations, but they don't have to get done till the next off season. And I feel like Marner especially will want to wait, because they're going to put up a lot of points this year, especially if he's playing with John Tavares, and it looks like he will be. Same thing with Matthews. He'll probably end up putting up a career year when it comes to points, and they're going to want a bigger contract by the end of the season. When it comes to William Nylander, we don't really know. Tim and Sid probably have better sources than I do, but from what we're hearing, we're not hearing a whole lot. That's the point. We're not really hearing much, so we don't know really who is pulling on each side, like who's being difficult. If I was to give my sort of point when it comes to Nylander, is we just don't know. We don't know what's going on. We haven't heard anything. We thought that it was difficult to hear about this stuff when Lou was the GM. It looks like Kyle Dubas is also taking that, because he is not really revealing any details. And that's fair. It looks like they're going to get a deal done eventually. It just hasn't happened. By the time I'm done recording this, I hope a deal is done, because I love William Nylander. I hope a deal gets done soon. It's very difficult because he's the first domino when it comes to signing these contracts. You're going to set the bar for Marner and Matthews with this deal, so it's difficult for Dubas, but it's also difficult for Nylander. The cap is going up. We don't know about a potential lockout soon. Nylander knows he's setting the bar. And there's other guys around the league that are getting pretty decent sized contracts, and he's probably saying, I deserve that as well. So it's difficult on both sides. So while I see that you might be a little bit worried, Sid, about the fact that these guys haven't signed yet, I think that it's fair to say it's coming, and it's going to be difficult. We all know that. When it comes to the fans, and this will probably be my last point, I didn't touch on everything that's in that video, but it's just because there are some points that he made that I agree with. Should Leaf fans overhype this season and guarantee a Stanley Cup? No. There are some fans out there that are acting like that. Guys, please don't do that. It is kind of embarrassing to just guarantee a Stanley Cup. The inner fan in me, because being the super fan that I am, if I'm around my buddies and screaming at a game or something like that, I'm obviously going to be like, we want the cup. I'm a Leaf fan. Of course I'm going to say that. But realistically, I know that it's going to take a grind and a battle to get to that cup. But I got to defend my fellow Leaf fans here. You shouldn't really say, oh, well, they're not allowed to talk like that. They don't know. They can't spell series. They don't know how to spell winners or whatever he said. And again, I totally respect them, so this isn't a diss. But it kind of hurts as a fan because we're just having fun. And I mean, there are some delusional fans out there, but I think that most Leaf fans are just trying to have fun and, you know, plan the parade already because you want your team to win. You want to see your team succeed. We'll have to see what happens this year. I would really hope that the Leafs could win a couple playoff series and even maybe get that Stanley Cup, because I do feel like you shouldn't overhype them, but you should be hyped up for this season. I'm very excited for this year. I think Kyle Dubas, the Toronto Maple Leafs players, and of course the fans are all really excited. Melnick's excited. Sorry, had to. But that's just my response. I love Tim and Sid. Sid is the guy. Tim is awesome. And I really hope that if they do see this, that this isn't some sort of roast or a diss. I'm a huge fan. I've expressed it many times in this video. I just wanted to give kind of my response. And to Leaf fans out there, don't go after Tim and Sid. They're just talking. They're having fun. They want to get their opinion out there. And even if you disagree with them, please stop being delusional and just attacking them for an opinion. You don't want to be attacked for your opinion either. So let's just be civil about it. Be a Leaf fan. Be excited. But don't overhype the team, and let's just all watch a good year of hockey. So if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. There's a bunch of links down below. I've lost it. I haven't recorded in a bunch of days here because of being sick. So yeah, stick around. Click the notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.